Welcome down the rabbit hole, friends. I am shooketh because a Mormon fundamentalist polygamist who used to be a part of the AUB and has very close connections with the Brown family is speaking out about Sisterwives, the AUB, and so much crap I've never heard of before. I'm literally shocked as my research led me to his social media pages, Facebook, TikTok, as well as a bunch of videos that are posted about him, podcasts, interviews, and even a short-lived TLC series because you see, my friends, Moroni Jessup and his wives were actually interviewed and put on tape by TLC about a year before the Brown family's TV show came out. Moroni believes they were in line to potentially be the stars of the Sisterwives show. But after their initial demo reality documentary, they were told they were just too quote unquote simple to make a whole show about them. Several months later, TLC's Brown Family Polygamist show premiered. But irregardless, Moroni Jessup eventually left the AUB. He still supports polygamy and is a fundamentalist Mormon. He has so much to say and so many interesting topics and even secrets to divulge about the doctrine he and the Brown family have lived under for so many years. But it also turns out he knew many of the Browns as members of his church long before they even married Kody. I am just kind of shaking in my boot to find this weird avenue down my long and winding Sisterwives rabbit hole.
Were Kody and Christine celebrities in our church before Sisterwives? Christine was. Everybody knew who Christine was. Before she got married, she was bubbly, friendly, funny. She was on the youth council, and it was part of her job to plan activities for the young adults. Kody, not really. I knew who he was. I had seen him before, but I didn't really know him. The one who was more popular was Brady Williams from My 5 Wives. He was very popular and very well known. He was a bishop in that organization. Hope that answers your question.
Okay, all of this makes complete sense. Of course, Brady Williams from My 5 Wives was more popular than Kody, and I believe his family and all of his wives are still together at this time. It also makes perfect sense that Christine was effervescent, bubbly, and headed up the children's ministry or volunteered with it at the church. She was always so good with kids on the show.
Good morning. My corner of Arizona got just a little bit of snow today. So, let's talk about divorce in the AUB, or the church that the Brown family belongs to. What's the process? First of all, the term that they use is release, as in you are released from your covenant. Typically, if you're going to get a release, the first thing that you do is you go to your priesthood leadership, the priesthood council usually, and you petition for a release from your covenant. They usually arbitrate, and then if they feel like it merits it, they will officially release you from your covenant and you are free to marry someone else. Now, before anybody thinks this is too strict, generally the priesthood council is regarded as being quite arbitrary with releasing people. Generally because it's usually the woman who petitions for a release, and if she gets a release, that puts her back on the market and makes her available. So the stereotype is that the AUB is quite liberal with giving releases, almost to the point of it becoming wife swapping.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did I hear that correctly? The AUB is sure, go ahead and divorce your husband because then we can marry you off to another man and we can produce more children that way. Wife swapping? Wow, this guy, Moroni Jessup, has so many interesting things I've never heard of having to do with the rules of the AUB that I feel like are so absent from our understanding of Sisterwives and why Christine, Janelle, Robin, and Kody do the things that they do. So one interesting thing is that Moroni says he runs or admins like a Facebook group having to do with polygamy. And basically in the past, he's really stood up for Kody as he's portrayed on the TV show because they talk about it a lot in the group. He says, I've stood up for him in the past and I really have tried to see things from his point of view. But one of his most recent videos is a video in which he reads a letter he wrote to Kody that basically says, like, I can no longer support you based upon the way that you have acted on the show in this past season and the way that many of your wives are feeling used and abused. This open letter to Kody I find quite interesting.
Kody, as it was defending the lifestyle and the religion from so many negative stereotypes that abound out there. Of course, at the time, I didn't really know Kody personally. I still don't. It wasn't until later that his problematic behavior became evident. And I think a lot of us realized that we were defending the wrong guy, or that the wrong guy was representing us. Hi, sorry about the extra noise. I have the car running. Can there be, or should there be, a head wife? Well, some families do it that way, but I disagree with that. The way I look at it, it puts one wife in an unequal footing with the others. To put one wife dictating other wives, whose interest do you think she's likely going to serve? Probably her own, so it's best not to have a head wife. I know that they did it that way in Big Love, where they called her the boss lady. But head wives is a big no-no in my book. Not to say that some people don't do it that way. Like I recall once that I was at a wedding with my parents, and we were talking to a plural wife, and she claimed that she was the head wife. She was the one who made the chore schedule for the other wives. She was the older, out of 5 wives. She was the older one, and she made the chore schedule and made sure that the other wives stayed on the schedule.
Ugh, that sounds awful. Can you imagine being an adult woman and you have to follow a chore schedule that another adult woman makes for you? Moroni's talking about like the concept of the head wife. Like, why do people do that? Should there be a head wife? And I mean, obviously he's like, that's not going to work out very well for everyone else in the family in many ways, but some people do choose to do it.
And after she left, I remember I made a comment to my parents like, oh my gosh, can't believe that she's like the queen bee. That's wrong. And my mom said, well, what's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that. And that's because my mom was placing herself in the position of head wife and not one of the subservient wives, I guess you might say.
Okay, so here we can clearly see that what's happening is that people within this religion are growing up in a certain kind of household, and then they're perpetuating what they've learned at home into their own families. Like Moroni's like, look, I grew up in a household with a polygamous family, and now I'm a polygamist as well.
Hi, I am a former Mormon polygamist, and I just got finished watching the 3rd tell-all for the TV show Sisterwives, and I will give you my thoughts on it. As I watched it, I kind of got where Kody was coming from on some of it. Especially where the part where he says that Christine doesn't see the struggles that he has with Robin, and that Robin has different struggles. I remember those days. I used to come home from work, and one wife would take me aside and accuse me of paying more attention to the other wife for this reason. And then the other wife would take me aside and accuse me of spending more time with the other wife for the exact same reason. Now, you can't divulge your conversation between wives because you're supposed to keep their confidence. But I remember being frustrated because which wife am I not paying attention to? Both can't be true. But here's the deal. This is the way they feel, and the way that they feel is valid. You have to be able to make them feel seen and heard. You're asking them to go through the difficult turmoil of plural marriage. The least you as a husband can do is to validate her and listen to her. And most of the times, if there is a problem in plural marriage, there is an insecurity that she is having that expresses itself in the form of jealousy. If you can address the insecurity and make her feel like she's loved and wanted and heard, that's half the battle right there. The biggest mistake that Kody is making in plural marriage is thinking that they owe him their love, that they have to give him respect before he returns respect. In that regard, he's missed the mark by like 1,000 miles. They will give respect and they will give love on their own terms. His job is to love unconditionally.
I am so interested in what this guy, Moroni Jessup, I know sometimes I say Moroni. Guys, I'm just bad at that kind of thing. But I'm so interested in what he has to say. This is going to be a part 1 video, and I'll put out part 2 tomorrow, where I'm going to feature a lot more videos where he talks specifically about the AUB, and then also about his interactions with TLC. He even shows clips from the documentary that they did. Basically, it kind of looks like his family was going to be set up to be the original Sisterwives family. They probably had several families they were looking at, and they ended up going with the Browns. But it's just so interesting. And if you have TikTok, that's probably the easiest place to check him out. He's also on Facebook as well. Just go ahead and search for Moroni Jessup on TikTok or Facebook, and you can catch up with him. His name is also spelled out in the videos that he appears in this YouTube video, and I will try to link him below as well. I am so tired, guys. You know, I'm doing the single mom thing while my husband is posted elsewhere, and I've got to get to bed, but I will put out a part 2 tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great night and that you'll join me again to travel down yet another rabbit hole.